Welcome to our conversation about race, equity, and justice, all centered around computer science education. My name is Jornea Armant. I am head of engagement at Flipgrid, and we are just so excited to have this conversation today because it is truly centered around our mission, which is to empower every learner on the planet to share their voice and to respect the diverse voices of others. And we know having this type of conversation and really thinking about computer science, this is another way to achieve our mission of empowering every voice. And I want to introduce my beautiful colleague, Fely.
Hola, hola, buenas tardes, buenos días, buenas noches, dependiendo de qué tiempo nos acompañen. We're so excited to be here with you, Jornea. Once again, we're so happy to connect with our speakers, with our community, as we gear up to celebrate CS Ed Week, Computer Science Ed Week, right? So Computer Science Week is such an important, muy importante event because it promotes skills that are not only valuable academically, but socially, Jornea, as well. It teaches our students to look at situations from different angles, different perspectives, diferentes perspectivas, diferentes ángulos, diferentes puntos de vista. And it promotes collaboration beautifully among our students and everybody in campus and everybody in our district and everybody everywhere. And most importantly, Jornea, it is all about problem solving. It is a skill that is so important in school, but it's also very important in life. So very, very happy to be here with you all. We are going to have an amazing time and I can wait.
Yes, and you know what, Fely? Flipgrid really wouldn't be possible without computer science. And it all starts off with a passion and a wonder.
Hey everyone, my name is Charlie Miller. I'm founder of Flipgrid and I lead social learning here at Microsoft. My childhood dream job from very early on, probably age 7 or 8, was to make video games. That's all I wanted to do, was create and build and design and code video games. So I aligned a lot of my actual early education around that. I tripled down in math. I loved math. I tried to get better at art, although I wasn't a great artist. And as I progressed through high school, I decided to go to Purdue University to actually learn more coding, learn more design, and learn a lot of physics, which goes into games. And that was my dream. But that's not what I do today. Computer science helped me along my journey because, as I started creating more things just in design, computer science showed me that through problem solving, I can actually build them into interactive opportunities for others. And it was one of the most inspiring things to learn, how to code something so that another individual could interact with it. A day in the life of my job is exactly the same thing that I love about my job. I get to work with this incredible Flipgrid team at Microsoft to support all of you, amazing and inspiring educators, learners, and families across 190 countries. Share your voices, share your learning, share the messy middle of what it takes to even become a computer scientist.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that message, Charlie. And that wonder and passion starts off with people inspiring young scholars every day. So we have some incredible guests that we would love to introduce to you. So our first guest today is Shayna Glass. Many of you might know her because she has been a friend of Flipgrid for a very long time. So Shayna, welcome. We would love to hear a little bit about you.
Hi, so I'm Shayna Glass, and I currently am a CSTA professional learning manager. But before coming here, I also was a 2020 CSTA Equity Fellow. And my primary role while I was a fellow, it was supporting teachers and students in computer science in grades kinder through 12th grade. So now I get to do it and reach even more teachers and students across the country. And I'm super excited to join you all today. One thing I did want to share about myself is my why. And literally, it's my daughter. She's always wanted to participate in coding from a young age, and her school limited that opportunity by putting a cap on the number of students that can learn the code. And I wanted to push the issue and, make sure she had those opportunities, but not just limited to her. So starting with a very personal why as to why I advocate for all students.
Oh, Shayna, I know Fely's clapping because she always says, who's our why, Fely?
Our babies, our students. Yes. And like, look, dream big, mijo. Dream big, mija. It's all about our babies. Yay. I love that.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Shayna, for sharing that with us. We're going to welcome our next guest, Max, who is really, this is so cool to me because Max is actually a Microsoft employee that works under a Microsoft Teals program. So Max, welcome. We would love to hear a little bit about you.
Yeah, so hello everyone. Thank you very much for having me. I am Gabriel Maximiliano Felix, or you can just call me Max. I am from Mexico, from the state of Chihuahua, and I am working on Microsoft for Team Xbox, building some of their APIs and just overall backend services. I am really passionate about APIs and all that goes into like a backend service, and that is because backend services and APIs are very agnostic. And I feel like in CS particularly, there's a certain kind of preconception about CS that it's only meant for, video games or stuff like, I don't know, like really like nitty gritty computer science things. When in reality, you can find technology in all sorts of places. So you can find technology in, your TV, your near hospital. Right now, because of COVID, we have technology all around us, because we have to take classes online. So really, it's endless how much you can use technology and where you can use it. So I'm really excited to be here to discuss race and equity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Max. Fely's excited again because you too have a connection.
Sí, los dos somos mexicanos. Los dos somos de México. Ah!
That's so exciting. Thank you.
That excitement is just making me think why representation matters so much. Our students need to see people who are from the same places that they are from, that speak the same language that they speak in different roles so that they can see I can do the same things with the passions that I have. So Max, thank you so much for joining us today in this conversation. We're going to bring on another guest, and this guest is super special. This is my first time meeting this guest, but this guest is an educator. His name is Leon Tynes, and he is one of the CS Equity Fellows. So welcome, Leon.
Hello. By the way, I'm also a Microsoft Innovative Expert Fellow.
What? Oh,
yes,
look
absolutely.
at that. 2 for 1 right here.
Double-edged sword. So now last year I'm here in Phoenix, and I had the great opportunity to serve 99% Hispanic community, K through 8, in computer science. And we did some amazing things with the microbits and Microsoft Make Code. I mean, the kids just totally overwhelmed me. And now I'm in a position where I'm teaching at an all-girls school, trying to elevate STEM in a high school, a college prep high school here in Phoenix, all girls. And I'm super proud of that. I've been working in CS and education for over 12 years now. And I'm all about empowerment. I'm also very much about my why, which is, I've had a lot of experience in law and technology. And I don't even see a lot of people, just even as a lawyer or as a business person, I don't see a lot of representation across the board, whether it be women, whether it be, African Americans, whether it be Hispanic. There's just not a lot of representation across the board. And given that tech and computer science is now in every field, regardless of the industry, it is critical at this point in time that we continue to push forward in a much greater emphasis on making sure our babies at least have exposure and understand how computer science works with everything that we do now with technology.
Wow, you are so right. It is everywhere, right? Everywhere, which means there's opportunities everywhere. Right. And so I'm going to bring in Shayna and Max right now because, as I was just kind of reading about the state of computer science education, and I have a commitment, and I know as educators and community members, we have a responsibility, right, to prepare our students for today and also for the future. But I learned that 58% of all new STEM-related jobs are in computing, but there are only 10% of those STEM graduates that are in computer science, and there's little representation across race, gender, and geographic location. And so knowing this data, I would really love for you to explore and share with us, how can we begin to ensure that there are equitable opportunities and experiences at every grade level? Because Shayna just told us at her daughter's school, only a certain percentage of students were able to get these opportunities. And we know that is not right. And that's not going to prepare our world for success.
Right.
Yeah, so I definitely think, if I can jump in, I definitely think that it really begins on how we talk about CS, and it starts in the classroom. CS is a field that can be sometimes talked about as being a little bit intimidating. And I feel like most people don't get the grasp of, hey, technology is really everywhere. Like, you can probably reach out right now and like extend your hands, and it's probably going to be near something that uses technology, and something that you can very much influence by knowing CS. So it's not just, for building video games. It's not just for, people that are really passionate about, typing all day. It's about, people that want to change the world and want to make a difference in the kind of technology that they use. And the world around themselves.
And Max, I was trying to highlight you just for a moment, but one thing you mentioned was, for many, they think computer science is intimidating. And if in education, if we as educators have that mentality that computer science is intimidating for us and intimidating for students, that already sets the tone for limiting that access. So I'm curious, Shayna, Leon, Fely, any thoughts centered around that, and how can we even break that that mindset that computer science is intimidating?
I'm going to poke
here. Wait, so
sorry.
Go ahead.
Ahead.
I think right here, this is something that it should be a conversation that should be happening every single day in our classrooms. It's because 17 years in the classroom, ESL teacher, and the hour of code, right? And when we as teachers and administrators, and then we're like, the hour of code, and I was like, but why the hour of code? We should be the year of code. Like, this should be an everyday event for our kids, and the language shouldn't be like another opposition against it. Like, my kids were able to code even though they were acquiring the language. In fact, there were a lot of opportunities as part of coding that also helped us to acquire the language, and the kids were fascinated. It was like 2 for the price of 1. But once again, it's about having these conversations with our kids, and us as teachers changing that mindset that it might be a little bit intimidating, but at the same time, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So let's do it. Let's take it. Our kids deserve it. It's everything for our babies, for our kids.
Yes. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. So, Leon, I know you wanted to hop in. As an educator,
I have to poke Shayna a little bit, and I'm going to do it. But I totally agree. Hour of code is usually in K through 8 the only exposure that they get. And number 2, the schools that actually have classes with this, it's considered a special. I mean, like an elective like PE or art, art or something like that. This subject is not a special. And so I think, and here we go with Shayna, because she's been one of these, an administrator has to buy in to the value of CS education and what it's going to do for our kids. If we plant that seed early, and I did an intense job doing it over the last 3 years in K-8 spaces, if we do that, what is that going to look like when that child goes to college? I mean, or even goes to high school? How does that transform that child's thinking? But we always talk about, Shayna's been with me, we've been doing stuff together for a long time, but it's just, we're missing the admin part. So when we talk about this, we're talking about people that are in the industry or kind of adjacent to the industry, but I can't do anything without my principal. And they need to be included in the conversation. Shayna, take it, please, because where I'm going with that.
Yes, I do. So I'm going to jump in and say all of you are absolutely correct. I'll say start with one, making sure that you feed off of the students' enthusiasm. Use it like a bouncing, a platform. So that hour of code is that hook. The line is the teacher becoming an advocate for what the students are learning. And the sinker is when your admin takes it, owns it, and spreads the word, not just across their campus, but across your district or school system. It's important that we also teach kids that it's not a game. As Max said, it's not a game. You have dozens of apps. Some of them have hundreds of apps. You don't have space. You have hundreds of apps on your phone, but you are a consumer and you don't get paid for that. And our world works off of currency. So it's really important that we teach kids not just that it's fun and that you're engaged in it and they start as they are learning to read, but also that you can solve this same problem and produce this same thing for everyone else to participate in and be a consumer for you versus you giving to someone else. That creates the level, that creates the playing field, that helps our economy. It helps the communities. It helps our children's community. I always push that kids, when you see something, look in your community, dig into the problems that you face in your own local backyard and figure out how you can solve them. So that means it's not a game. It could be a food desert. It could be that you don't have enough water, depending on where you are in the region. And how can you use computer science to solve that problem? Use that within your own classrooms too. So I am talking to teachers. Regardless of what you teach, you have issues. So use the issues that's happening in your classroom and let the students solve them using programs. That's how you create a level playing field. And that, take those hooks back to your admin so that they can show themselves as the shining star and promote your work and get the funding to spread that across, not just your school, but community.
Definitely. And that's when ownership happens. This is when you're involving all of your students with everything and they bring everything to the table. And then it's like we create a big fiesta and everybody's invited. Not only certain kids, not only certain classes, not only certain hour, because we go back to the hour of code, but it's a big fiesta. It's a celebration that happens every day and everybody is included.
Completely agree.
We can't hear you, Jornea.
Here we go. I was just sharing, I know Max works one-on-one with Microsoft Teals program, which is a volunteer program focused on high schools. And so, Max, just share with us a little bit about this program. Like, why did you get involved with the program and what is that program like? Because once again, going back to that intimidation for the educator, having an industry professional side by side with an educator in the classroom, I think is such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it's definitely very important because, for example, me personally, I've always been into computers, so I actively search computer science, but I recognize that I'm definitely the outlier, and there's some people that, might not have that natural inclination to kind of search computer science, but given the opportunity, giving, the like a reasonable time, like even a semester to kind of understand and learn about CS, can really definitely change what the outlook of that person looks like and what their even perception of computer science is. And, even if that person doesn't, end up in computer science, they can talk to other people and say, hey, like, you're only talking about video games when you talk about computer science, but hey, you can make like this other things like Shayna was mentioning, like your phone is the most ubiquitous thing right now in your life, and it's all based on computer science. So it at least spreads the knowledge of, hey, computer science is more relevant than you probably think about. And that's really what brought me into Teals, because I feel like not enough communities know about like how prevalent CS is, and it's kind of reserved for this special kind of beast in a cage that you don't want to mess around with unless you know what you're doing. But it's not really that. It's really something beautiful, and it's something that I think everybody should know about and should be shared with everybody.
I definitely want to chime in on what Max said. And first, I want to say to Max, thank you so much for being a Microsoft Teals volunteer. Just a little more backstory on what that is. Microsoft Teals is a philanthropic lens of Microsoft, where they actually work with industry volunteers, not just within Microsoft, but all over the country, wherever you are in your region. And these people give their time before they start their day, and they go in and support high schools and the teachers. They go in not just as an individual. Sometimes they go in pairs or even teams, and they co-teach, and they have teaching assistants. And if you are new to teaching computer science, or that intimidation that you spoke of, Janae, they have their back. It's like a second pair of hands. And the other two thumbs up for Max and all Microsoft Teals volunteers is that you bring in that cultural relevance by showing kids who look like them that they can be just like you. The diversity in Teals volunteers is fire. Like, and I said fire. Like, it's amazing that I too live in your community. I used it in my district, where these people were like, I drive by here every day on my way to work. I work at HP. I work here. I'm in the gas and oil industry. I'm passing by your school every day, and I will stop here an hour before I even need to get up, and I'm coming in your classroom to support you. It's a magnificent program, and they're getting ready to offer in some middle schools. So,
Wow.
yeah, so it's definitely a phenomenal program, and it doesn't cost districts anything.
Wow. So we will definitely share the link for the Microsoft Teals program in our show notes on YouTube. So definitely check that out so you can learn more about the program and how to get your school involved. And, with that being said, that's one reason why I absolutely love working at Flipgrid and really seeing, just the brilliance of our engineers and the diversity of our engineers. So our head of engineering, Kat Cho, she has a message for each and every one of you.
Hi, my name is Kat, and I am head of engineering and product here at Flipgrid. When I was little, I thought I was going to be an artist. And not just any artist, a cartoonist specifically, somebody who uses art to make people laugh. What I love about what I do today is I still get to create things. A lot of coding is really putting building blocks together to make something new and different and really amazing. And I love enjoying doing that with other people and having fun along the way. Today, coding helps me with a lot of things. Code is the fundamental building block of all of these amazing products that we put out in the world that help people do things better or faster. Flipgrid is built on code, and Flipgrid is there to help empower student voice and connect people in their learning journey. We wouldn't have these amazing products without code. What I love about what I get to do day in and day out is I get to work with all kinds of engineers right alongside other disciplines like program managers, designers, folks who represent our community. And I love that we get to come together and build meaningful impact in the world and have fun while we're doing it.
So, I absolutely love Kat's message. And as I was thinking about her message, just like reading, writing, mathematics, it's all important. Coding is a literacy that is necessary for everyday life to solve problems, right? And, just the beauty in that all is if every student learns this in the same types of capacities and have those same opportunities, they can really truly find their passions early on, right? And she talked about the collaboration there, right? Students then begin to see what are the things that I'm truly passionate about? Where are the areas that's, my strength? And then they have a better choice, right? When they get to choose their careers or college experiences, the direction that they want to go in. So does anybody want to chime in with that after that message from our head of engineering, Kat?
I want to chime in with what you said, and kind of what Shayna said, where when we're using these types of tools and a language to build technology and to test and to prototype and, of course, to iterate technology at that level with kids, I know with me, I wrap my subjects all around with it. And I know Max will tell you that there's a lot of math in developing tech. And I force my kids to write it out. You're going to write a report or an executive summary or, something. We're going to use literacy research to back up. First of all, you have to understand why you're making it. What is the issue we're addressing? So there's the research and the writing part. And then you have to do the analysis part to know what you're going to code. Like, okay, we'll put all of that together. I want it in writing, as well as things like, flow charts and other things. What is the app going to look like? Or what is this thing going to look like? Okay, so let's build it out in AutoCAD before you start, putting metal or plastic and things like that together. So there's design, math, science, depending on if you're doing something to solve a science-based problem. It's not like you're just staying in computer science. Computer science is the conduit. But you have to have all these pieces, and you can ask, the founder of Flipgrid. It's not like Flipgrid just got over to Microsoft with no documentation, with no research, with no nothing. And that's the point. We're teaching kids not only how to make something, but also to support the life cycle of that thing. And that's what is the most important part for me. I just don't leave it with coding on the table. I'm just not evaluating code. I'm evaluating problem solving, design, testing, definitely literacy. All of those things are involved with these things that Shayna and everyone has been talking about. It's just not as simple as, you open up IDE and you start coding. Absolutely. Not that simple.
And you definitely can bring language acquisition into everything that you said, into the equation, right? Because you talk about reading, you talk about writing, you talk about speaking, you talk about listening, which are all the language domains. And like Shayna said, it's the hook that I'm going to have in my classroom so that my students are there practicing the language. Okay, we're going to code, we're going to do this, and we're probably going to be mixing the languages, but coding is a universal language. It can happen in English, it can happen in Spanish, because what it's mainly doing, it's exercising your brain. I remember telling my babies, we're going to be exercising our brains. Our brains are going to be smarter, bigger, powerful with this. And then we're going to bring the language into it, and we're going to make it happen. And it should be included in all of the curriculums. It should be happening every single day, every single time, with every single one of our babies, every single one of our kids. Thank you so very much for sharing all of that. Ay, me emociono mucho. I'm so excited.
And with that, Fely, that's a perfect segue to our last question. So if you don't mind asking that question to our beautiful guest.
Claro que sí. Ahí voy.
And I should have it up on the screen.
Sí, thank you, corazón. So, what would you like to share with our global educator community, con toda nuestra comunidad, to encourage implementation of computer science everywhere and to explore careers in computer science for the future?
So I would like to chime in first, and I would like to say, like, for example, Teals, like, we teach computer science in high school, and it's really interesting to see the perceptions that people that aren't necessarily involved directly with Teals have about computer science. It feels like there's this conception where students go into the classroom, they learn about CS, and then they leave the classroom, and that knowledge is kind of bound by those walls. And I think there's, kind of a cycle that can be fostered here, where it's, CS feeds into your understanding about math. Those two things are intrinsically connected, and one can help you understand the other. Whether it's math help you understand computer science because you have that, natural gravitation to computer science, or computer science can help you understand math because you have that gravitation to math. So again, it's about feeding the knowledge one into the other and kind of building those foundations and making sure that it's a cohesive learning experience instead of isolated parts that, sometimes students don't quite know how to piece together. But it starts with, including those topics in together in like in a curriculum that is comprehensive, and not just this is computer science and this is math and they are separated.
Great points. Great points. One thing could definitely spark ideas for another, and that's how we continuously learn and grow. Anyone else would like to share any type of encouragement or ideas with our global educator community?
I guess I'll go. Shayna's being quiet over there. One of the things, first of all, I totally, Max, yes, math classes in Java. That's all I have to say. Yes. So what I'm saying is that there's another layer to this. We've talked about students. We've talked about teachers. We've talked about administrators, all important. But I know from my last 3 years working in a Hispanic community, they didn't know those parents didn't know what was going on in my class. I don't get it. I don't understand. I got a lot of hands raised, when children didn't turn in assignments or whatever. I don't understand what they do, how we can help. They just didn't understand that we were actually coding in class. And so I think it's very important not only to, when you have a computer science class in spaces like those, you have to communicate with parents. I have to send letters home. And then at the end of my projects, we have to have an exhibition so that parents can kind of understand, oh, here's the code. Oh, it makes this thing do this. Oh, okay, I get it. I'm starting to understand. And then they say, wow, my child did that. I want my child to continue doing that. So that's the big part. It's that it's not just, we have to complete that whole circle of influence. And parents just don't know. I mean, think about it. Like, if you were just a parent and you were in certain communities and you've never met a coder, you never ran into Max. Max, you told me what you do, but I don't get it. So I just, okay, bye, Max. I know you're nice. So this way we could be educating our kids, of course, the babies is the primary, but the secondary piece has to be our parents, our guardians, things of that layer, so that they understand how important it is. And then we use that code.org data, the demographic data, and the changes that they have in the data to show how many open jobs there are, 6 figures, every year in every major city in every state across the United States. When they see that, that bell rings.
And what beautiful opportunities to educate and involve families, and even, you know, students can teach their parents, can open up a new world of possibilities for their families to think about things in other ways too, right? And so that's a beautiful way to, number one, ensure equitable experiences and futures for everyone. And I know Shayna has some resources that she wanted to pop it on the screen, which I see now, right, Shayna?
Yep.
Ready?
Yep, I'm ready. So I'm going to give a top 5 for your global educator community. For CS Ed Week, CSTA is making sure, would like to make sure that educators know these things. One, Computer Science Teachers Association is not only for computer science teachers. So if you are not a member, you can become a member, and it is free to become a member of CSTA. So that's the first thing. Once you join CSTA, you automatically become a part of your local chapter. So wherever you are in the world, well, in the United States, and we are expanding to other countries, you will become a member. And even if your country or region does not have a chapter, you can still participate in all of CSTA's activities and events. So definitely join and automatically become a part and learn more about what's happening in your region. There's been over 500 chapter events in this last year, so there's plenty of opportunity to learn and to grow in that community and even share ideas. Again, we're definitely wanting to target and reach teachers who are new to computer science. So if you have that hesitation, join to learn more. Next, look into our conference. We're working right now to create scholarships for teachers who may not have attended. It will be in Chicago this summer. So we are really hoping to bring in teachers who want to learn more and to share their experiences with other like-minded educators. Come to our summits. This next summit that we're having in February is targeted specifically for computer science integration across all content areas. So take a look. It will definitely be out so that you can register, and scholarships are available. So if you are interested, February 12th is the date to save. And we've here, 2 of us here are Equity Fellows. If you want to learn more and dig deeper on how you can create more equitable experiences for students, think about becoming an Equity Fellow or reach out to one. We're all accessible, and we can give you even more information on how to create more equitable spaces in computer science classrooms. Of course, Computer Science Education Week. This year, we're definitely trying to take it beyond just the hour of code. So yes, we want you to expose your kids, and that initial exposure is extremely important. The hook is essential, but we also want to teach, inspire, advocate, involve, and celebrate computer science. So take a look at the website to learn more and to figure out which activities you would like to do with your students. This does include lots of lessons and events happening every single day. Lastly, I want to push you to check out our teacher standards. CSTA standards are growing across the country and are being adopted by states. As Jornea mentioned earlier about the state of CS, all of these different areas, we provide resources that are not just for teachers, but also to have administrators and policymakers and PD providers, your state Department of Eds. We're creating resources to help them support teachers, to support you. So if you didn't know all these resources existed, please check them out. And lastly, during this week on the website, you'll be able to find a guide that you'll be able to send directly to your administrators on how they can support you. And everything is linked so that they'll be able to learn how they can send you to the different events and everything that I just shared. That's what I got.
Awesome. That was incredible, Shayna. And I know we too have partnered with CSTA to think about ways that we can bring these experiences to students as well. So I am going to pop up on the screen our programming this week. So Fely, if you want to take us through what's happening with Flipgrid during CS Education Week.
Claro que sí, claro que sí. Well, the December 1st, we are going to have a community conversation. We're going to be talking about everything about CS Ed Week. December 7th, we are going to have our Twitter chat. So please join us. We are going to be online on social media talking about the Osabot, Flipgrid, and with our student voice ambassadors. That's going to be on December 7th at 6 p.m. Pacific time, right? If I'm not mistaken. December 8th, we are going to have our Flipgrid live event with leaders, I'm sorry. There it is. My ESL kicked in from Minecraft. December 9th, we are going to have students use our featured topic from CSTA to talk about their CS hero. And on December the 10th, we are going to celebrate. We invite you to celebrate with us what our students did this week for a chance at winning swag. So we have a full, amazing week with lots and lots of celebration. Most of these celebration, well, not most, all of these celebrations are about our students, our babies, and everything that we do here, our communities, for our community, for our teachers, but always, always, always with our students in mind.
And Fely, you know, that last thing is sharing about what you do in the week. So whatever you do during the week, think about how you can not only do it during that week, but carry that on over throughout the school year and inspire students. So one way that you can easily do this is through social media. That's so much that you can learn. So our friend Jennifer Mahan, she's in a rural community, which we also know rural communities are communities that also might not have the opportunity to explore computer science education. But this educator has created so many opportunities in her STEM lab for her students to have firsthand exposure to computer science and coding every single day. And so you see here in this example, you don't even need technology to explore the basis of computer science and coding. And I think that's another misconception that many people have. So shout out to Jennifer Mahan. Every day she's making those things happen. To support you this week, we also have this beautiful Flipgrid Discovery Library featured collection. So you can hop into Flipgrid, go to the Discovery tab, and what you'll find is 50 plus topics that have been created by educators as well as partners such as Tinker and Genially and Minecraft. So many topics there for you and your students to explore this week and beyond. In addition to that, we know how important it is for students to see themselves in different roles as well. So our team at Flipgrid and across Microsoft has put together videos explaining their passions and their job roles for you and your students. So you can access this mixtape with this code that's on the screen for your students to be inspired and learn a little bit more about those roles. And in addition, on Thursday, as Fely mentioned, we will have a topic of the day created by CSTA. And this topic is called My Computer Science Hero. This is a beautiful way for students to learn not only about those careers, but people who are in those careers. That can be someone that's in their neighborhood. It can be a family member. It can be someone they found on the internet that is doing those things that they love to do. Maybe they want to be a music producer one day and think about how they're using coding to do that, right? This is a beautiful way for students to just explore the different job roles and also people who are in the field and share their computer science hero. It might be their teacher, right? It could be anyone. So we really encourage you to utilize these topics throughout the week. Once again, here is that schedule that you can see everything that's happening throughout Flipgrid. So as we close out, we just want to say thank you to every educator who is tuning in right now. I challenge you to not only view this programming today, but also share it with someone else so that they can continuously learn, grow, and inspire the world today with their scholars, so that their scholars can make an impact. And hopefully that data that we heard early on with that 10% of students finishing in STEM careers being in coding and computer science with lack of representation, hopefully that narrative is changed because of you. Thank you so much for empowering every voice.